My wife thought I used my s-timeual assault as an excuse to cheat. Abuser s-nvicted guilty, my wife wants me back. This is such a long story that takes place over a series of months. I'll try to get all the details without going on for too long. So basically I 30M got our pet at a party about 8 months ago. I got drunk and an acquaintance of mine took advantage of me. I hardly remember it, but I woke up the next morning naked with a vivid memory of what had happened. I remember putting up a fight, but not much else. I also have a very vague memory of her holding a phone the entire time, but that's about it. Will be important later. I immediately went home and told my wife. She was extremely sympathetic and let me cry on her shoulder. I was a sobbing mess. At the time I did not want to press charges because I didn't know how it would go if a male accused a woman of RPing me. Anyway, I ended up telling my friends because they questioned why I stopped showing up to gatherings. The girl's response was basically that it was consensual and I was lying to keep my wife from getting mad at me. Half of my friends believe her and the other half are on my side. It was a mess. In the end, I decided to just distance myself from them all. One of my supportive friends contacted me letting me know that she had gotten pregnant, but ended up aborting. This was a whirlwind of emotions for me, but in the end I decided that it was for the best. My wife took this in a different way. She says that she wasn't aware that my abuser made me finish and that I wouldn't have CM if I genuinely wasn't enjoying it. We argued for days and she kept telling me I was sick for faking a RP allegation just so I could cheat on her. We've separated but are not yet divorced. I've been staying with my brother. Well, at this point, I decided that I needed to go to the police to clear my name. I hired a lawyer and when he heard my recount of the events that I remember, he was absolutely convinced that she had recorded the encounter. I don't know why, all I mentioned was that she was holding a phone, but I guess it makes sense. Anyway, her phone and laptop were searched but there was nothing. It took months, but finally we were able to retrieve the video via the cloud. I guess you can't really ever fully delete something. The video clearly depicted me in a vulnerable state and incoherently trying to get her off of me. It was sick. Anyway, with this evidence plus witness accounts, court sentenced her to 2.5 years in prison. When this happened, I guess my wife realized that I actually had gotten our pet and has been pleading to get back into my life. She says she made a mistake and just assumed and she's so sorry, but I don't know if I can ever forgive her. Should I continue with divorce or try to work things out with her? Some comments from Op. In response to someone mentioning his rapist might have lied about the abortion or the fact that it was his. Also, forgot to mention, she had proof of the abortion but had no proof that it was mine. It was brought up in court. She tried to use it against me. I have no idea if it was mine, but the timelines do match up. Regardless, that part of the story is behind me now. In response to a deleted comment where Op reiterates he did not consent. I didn't consent. I know I didn't consent and the video shows I didn't consent. I did not want to have s-time with her and I told her that, and even though I was clearly out of it, it's clearly seen that I was saying no. I don't know why you think that men can't get our pet just because we're larger. And I'm not even that big. But that doesn't even have anything to do with the situation. I was so drunk that I could barely stay awake and she had s-time with me. How is that not RP? Imagine if a guy did that to a girl. What would you say? Op mentions how his lawyer fought to get video proof and how his rapist tried to spin the narrative. Thanks. I wouldn't have one if my lawyer didn't fight for the existence of a video. She actually tried flipping it on me and said that I pet her. She used the abortion as proof and said she didn't want a baby with her rapist. It sucked. If she wasn't stupid enough to record it, I probably would be in prison right now. Notable comments from fellow Redditors. To elaborate what people are mentioning in this post about RP and victim reactions, in case it's still not clear to you Op or you simply don't know, it's called arousal non-concordance. About your case, personally I think it very alarming that your wife went as far as saying that you must have enjoyed it if you orgasmed. Point of interest, would she say the same about herself if she was in your situation and she had an orgasm? It might be a good idea to show her that video as well, so that she can correct her ignorance about it. To me, People would normally have more pause before saying stuff that they actually don't know to be facts or not when it is in regards to such sensitive topics. The potential impact in terms of damage and hurt wrongful information can have in such cases are immense, as you've experienced. That she did is alarming and needs to change if you're to be able to work it out together, should you choose that option. I think some things to consider for you are, is it something you think she can change about herself? Can you get over that she did it? You'd need counseling therapy in any case. If you choose not to continue your relationship, know that it's okay as well. I wish you the best either way. Link, honestly, I wouldn't let her back in. She clearly doesn't understand that regardless of if consent is involved, s-timeual stimulation will likely lead to ejaculation if kept up long enough. Your body doesn't always know the difference between consensual and non-consensual s-time. You went through an extremely traumatizing time, and while at first she was understanding, she then accused you of faking a RP allegation simply because she doesn't understand some basics of the male side of s-time. She should stood by your side in that instance and encouraged you to report the acquaintance and waited to see what would come from it. Instead, she decided that she knew better about male genitals and consensual versus non-consensual s-time and accused you of lying about getting RPed. It's not okay. She made her bed, now she has to lie in it. Link, update. Hey guys. I'm going to keep this brief. We just finished our first couples counseling session and it's only further solidified my intention to go through with divorce. During the session, my wife admitted that if there wasn't substantial evidence, she'd probably continue believing that I was a liar and a cheater. It made me realize that she only felt guilty for how she made me feel after she was proven wrong. If it weren't for my incredible lawyer, she'd still think I was lying. So, we're getting a divorce. My wife has agreed to keep it as clean as possible. We don't have any kids and we're renting a house together, so it shouldn't be too messy. I think I got the closure I wanted from couples counseling and I don't think we need a second session. Thank you Reddit for your kind words. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1, what an awful thing to happen to Oop, and with the betrayal of friends and his wife, I am astounded at his strength to keep going. He is made of tough stuff, and hopefully in time, he will make some new friends and or a partner who are better people. That the woman got only 2.5 years is disgusting. She lied to the court, filmed the crime, potentially distributed the film of an assault, harmed Oop's reputation by spreading lies about him around his community, and is a dirty ducking RPist. She needs 10 years minimum. Appalling. Redditor follow-up. No wonder SA male victims rarely come forward. They're hardly believed, they're made pariahs by everyone, and their rapists get 2.5 years, even after recording them. Disgusting. Redditor follow-up. I wish it was more well known that RP victims sometimes have orgasms, and that it doesn't mean that they enjoyed it. One of my first s-time ed at school mentioned it, and I think this is such an important thing to know. Redditor 3, the wife really disgusts me. I can't imagine finding out my husband was RPed and that it impregnated the RPist. I would be so afraid for him and angry at her and just I'm glad that RPist is in jail, and I'm glad the wife isn't in his life anymore. Two horrible women. I feel so incredibly sad for this man and hope he gets therapy to cope with what he has experienced. Redditor follow up. The worst is she believed him before. Not that it's any better, but if she didn't believe him from the beginning at least it would make sense. But no, she consoled this man who wall crying his face off on her shoulder for days and then she stopped believing him as soon as she found out the RPist gore preggers. Weird. Redditor 4, many RP victims whether men or women get orgasm. Just because someone's body reacts this way doesn't mean they have consented to it. Fuck victim blamers. Redditor follow up. Just a point that this issue is another part of the trauma the victims have to go through, the guilt feeling of orgasm while RPed. Because the connection orgasm equals enjoy is still prevalent. And lot of times it mess the recovery of the victim, especially when subjected to this type of victim blaming. Redditor 5, 2.5 years. That's it? I feel sick just thinking about it. RP is RP and it should be a life sentence as the victim will have to deal with the trauma for life. Redditor follow up. I suspect that Oop's case had to be prosecuted as s-timeual assault rather than RP, and the short sentencing is a reflection of that. While most people rightly agree that the definition of RP is simply having s-time with someone who could not consent to it, legal definitions are more specific and vary from place to place because s-time itself has to be defined within the law. Unfortunately, within those localized definitions, there's still a lot of holdover from patriarchal, s-timeual thinking that doesn't give room for variety in the types of s-time that real people have. In some jurisdictions, the victim has to be penetrated for it to count as RP. Heck, in some jurisdictions, it's specified as penile penetration or penetration of the vagina, which puts unfortunate limits on who can be legally considered a RPist or the victim of a RP. Which of course is the same reason why Brock Turner, may his name live ever on in infamy, was only seen convicted of 3 counts of felony s-timeual assault, despite the horrific actions he was caught in the middle of.